Good day, everyone. My name is Yada Abdul from ICAN Online Tutors. And today we are going to continue from where we stopped during the previous class. And we are talking about the section B of the syllabus, which is principle of management. And we're able to talk about some pre-scientific words on theory in the previous class. We talk about the scientist theory as well. So the next one that we are going to be talking about for today's section is about we're able to talk about the administrative theory as well. So before we go to the fourth one, if you can remember, this is where we stop during the previous class. We stop at administrative management theory. But before that, let me make a little brief recap of some of the things that we talk about in the previous class before starting with the syllabus section D today, which is about bureaucracy by Max Weber. Then we're able to talk about and the first of all is what is the definition of what is the definition of management. And we say that management can be defined as the process of planning, organizing, directing, and controlling the resources of the organization in order to achieve his goal effectively. That is management. Management is a process that consists of four interrelated activities, which is what we have to plan, we have to organize, we have to direct, and we also need to control. And the main purpose of doing that is to achieve the organization aims and objective, to achieve it. Okay. So that is the main purpose of management. The main purpose of management is to achieve the corporate goals and objectives in effective and efficient manner. That's the main purpose of management. And if you remember during some of our previous class, we're able to talk about what is the meaning of mission. And we say that mission is the reason for existence of that organization. Once you have mission, the next thing that you also need to work towards is to have a vision. A vision is your future aspiration. Then after that, you also need to have we also talk about goals and objectives as well. And every goals and objective must be smart. The X is for specific, measurable. It must be attainable, realistic, and there must be a time bound as well. We talked about this in the previous class as well. Then we talk about what's the management process. We talk about planning, organizing, leading, and we also talk about controlling as well. Who is a manager? The manager is any individual that carry out the management process. What are the management process? The planning, the organizing, the directing, the controlling. So who makes sure that the management process are in place is the manager. Then we also talk about levels of manager. We also talk about levels of manager. We have the top, we have the middle, the first line as well. Then we also talk about the managerial role in the previous class. And managerial role, according to Miesbach, can be divided into three. We have the interpersonal, the informational, and the decisional role. Under the interpersonal, what are some of the things that manager do? The figurehead, the leader, the liars. Informational role, you monitor, you disseminate, you speak on behalf of the world, you speak on behalf of the organization. Decisional role, the entrepreneur, the disturbing handler. If there's any problem, you should try as much as possible to provide a solution to it. Resources, allocator is also another function of roles of manager and negotiator. What are the management levels and what skills that require at different level, whether the top, the middle, and the supervisory, the technical, the human, and the conceptual, the interpersonal, the diagnostic, and analytical as well. Universality of management, and that is the concept that's saying that as a manager, some of the planning that you are doing, the organizing that you are doing in your organization, you can also extend it outside. You can extend it to the mosques, to the church, to the association that you belong. It is not only about the world. It's not only about in the organization as well. Then we now talk about the theory, the prescriptive. What are the different scholars that we have about? We talk about then the scientific. We talk about Frederick Taylor is the father of what the scientific management. And after then we talk about the administrative, which is we talk about the father of the administrative is Henry Fryo. And during the last class, Fryo divided the organization activities into six. We have the technical, the commercial, the financial. We also have the security. Don't forget there's what is the mistake here. It is what security, then accounting, and we also have what managerial. Fario divide the activities of what industry undertaking into how many? Into six: technical, commercial, financial, security, accounting, and managerial. And Fario also bring up the principle of the principle of management, which is 14. Okay, we talk about the contribution and the limitation of Henry Fario. So the starting point for today is about the theory of bureaucracy. The theory of bureaucracy, which is by Max Weber. Theory of bureaucracy by Max Weber. And Max Weber is from It's from Germany. Is a German. Is from Germany. Max Weber was a German who developed the bureaucratic model of the organization as a rational way of structuring a complex organization. Whereby rational bureaucracy required that people perform a large variety of tasks in an organization and must follow established rules and regulations in order to ensure the uniformity and rationality of output. Look at this. Max Weber rational bureaucracy required that people perform a large variety of tasks. We have the IT, even in the account, we have some individual that are in charge of the receivable, some are in charge of the payable, some reconciliation, some the fixed asset. So people perform People perform a large variety of tasks in the organization and must follow a rules. You don't originate your own. Whatever the rules and regulation that is being set by the organization, you have to follow it. We know you perform a lot of tasks, but the way that they're doing in this organization may be different from where you are coming from. So you may be in another organization before and joining another organization. And let's say you're in ABC Limited. You are now coming to XYZ Limited. So each of these organizations have rules and regulations. They have different procedure, even though they may be in the same they may be in the same industry, but their procedure is different. What this one is doing is different from the way the other one is doing. So the bureaucracy is about Is about rules and regulation. Follow the rules and regulations that is being laid down. Thus, bureaucracy was defined as that ideal system wherein position and tasks are clearly defined. Division of labor was prescribed and clear. Objective were explicitity, and a clear change of command was maintained. That is bureaucracy. Bureaucracy was defined as as ideal system where position and tasks were clearly defined. I am reconciliation officer. So anything that has to do with the reconciliation of our cash book, the reconciliation to the bank statement, we can also do reconciliation between our customer and our supplier as well. Oh, this particular customer is saying that, oh, I'm owing you 1,000 naira, but in our book, it may be higher than that or lesser than that. So we also need to do reconciliation. So where position and tax were clearly defined, this is your job description. Division of labor was prescribed and is clear. Things that I'm doing, I understand it. Objective were explicitity and a clear change of command. Oh, I am reporting to this particular individual. It is clear to me. Weber distinguished that three main types of authority. We have traditional, we also have what we call rational, and we also have what we call systematic authority. So let's now be looking about them one after the other, starting with traditional. In the traditional form of authority, orders were obeyed as the people giving them were invested with this with the same through custom or convention. In the traditional form of authority, Other were obey as the word, as the people giving them were what invested with the same true what. This one is true custom and what and convention. Just like we have the word the queen, the king, the queen is what you can see it is what it is traditional. Just like what, let's say in my town, if I'm not what I did not belong to the what the traditional what family, so I can't become a what I can't go for a post relating to the king. Okay, so authority of the word, the king, the queen, it is what it is tradition. It is through the word. It is through the custom and what custom and conventions. Then we also have the word the rational legal authority. In the rational legal authority, form of authority, other were obey because the subordinate believed that the person giving them were empowered to do so through enforcement of legal sanction. That is, in accordance with what with legal rules and regulation in force. This is through the word, through the constitution. If the word the governor, the word the vice chairman of local government, the word the president of the word of a country is doing a certain things, what is doing the position that is what is rational legal, meaning that what the authority that the governor, the president, the chairman have, it is through the what it is through it is through a legal means, it is through the legal rules and regulation. That is what we call a rational legal authority. Then we also have another one by what my Max Weber, which is what charismatics what authority, charismatics rests on what on the appeal of the leader and based upon a belief in the word the personal attribute of the person giving the order. So here it is not what it is not traditional, it is not through the what the legal system. I'm not a chairman, I'm not a local government, I'm not a president, but I have some authority. The authority that I'm exercising now, it may be through my level of my level of education, my level of experience, the type of what interpersonal relationship that I have with you. So if I ask you to oh, let's do this thing, you are going to you are going to obey. That is charismatics. Rests on the word, the appeal of the leader, and is based on the belief in the personal attribute of the person giving the word, giving the order. So these are the three type of what these are the three type of authority named given by Max Weber: the traditional, the rational, and charismatics authority. Then we also have what are the futures of what? What are the futures of bureaucracy? Bureaucracy encourage what? Division of what? Division of labor. Bureaucracy encourage what? Division of labor. At least you can see from the word, from the earlier, that's what we say what? Bureaucracy. What is bureaucracy? Bureaucracy is a word. Bureaucracy is an ideal system where position and tasks were clearly defined. There's a division of labor was precise and what clear. Objective and what were explicit. Oh, these are the objective of doing this. Is what is clear and unit of command as well. I know who I am reporting to. So division of what? Division of labor. Each role has a clearly defined set of what? Set of tasks, along with a what? A specified area of what? Jurisdiction and what? A responsibility. Each role has a clearly defined set of tasks. Oh, this is the role that you are doing. What you are going to do as what? As a reconciliation. What you are going to do as what? As IT manager. What you are going to do as what? As finance manager. It is what? It is clear. Along with specific area of what? Jurisdiction. Oh, you are the what? In accounting, oh, you are the manager. In what? In IT now, we have another manager. In what? In another department, we have. So the what? There's a division of labor in each of these jurisdiction, in each of these what department. Then we also have another features, which is what we call authority hierarchy. The roles or the job are organized in form of what? Hierarchy of what? Of authority. And very soon we are going to talk about organization structure, or sometimes call it what? Organization organogram, or we can also call it what? Organization charts. So there's what? Authority hierarchy. Oh, I know, oh, as what? I'm working in the finance department. Oh, I know I'm reporting to the what? Maybe to the finance manager. So as a finance manager, you know, okay, maybe you are reporting to the what? To the board. As IT personnel now, I know I'm reporting to the what? To the IT manager. In the marketing now, staff under the what? In the marketing department, they know, oh, we have what? Head of what? Marketing department. So there's the word authority. So the marketing manager now is also reporting to what? To someone. So there's authority hierarchy. Then another one is what? Another features of bureaucracy is what we call formal selection. Employees are expected to be recruited on the basis of their what? Competency and expertise, while the progression of what employees should be based on what? Seniority or what? Or achievement. Employees are expected to be recruited on the basis of their what? Competence. Yeah. Formal selection. There should not be any element of what? Favoritism. That the reason why you are employing these guys is because of, oh, you know these people, you know this particular individual. So there should be a what? There should be expertise. Employees are expected to be recruited on the basis of their competence and expertise. Very soon, we are going to be talking about the human resources, the HR. Why progression of what? Employees should be based on seniority or what? Or achievement. Your progression, oh, which level are you are going to be? It should be based on your what? It can be based on your seniority or your what? Or your achievement. Just like in a what? In a football club now, captain are usually given most of the time based on what? Seniority. Not based on what, sometimes it's not really based on your this thing. It's not really based on, oh, you are the best player in that particular team. Majority of the time, the leader of the team are usually based, oh, how many years have you what? How many years have been in this club? When what Cristiano Ronaldo go to Real Madrid, he was the best player in the world. That was in 2008. But he was not the what? He was not the captain then. When you get to Real Madrid, we still have what? Other seniority. So what we are saying now is that there should be a formal selection of employee. Recruitment should be based on what their expertise, and the progression of employee should be based on seniority or what? Or achievement. Then we also have another features of bureaucracy is what we call career orientation. Officers of the organization are not the owner of the organization, but are regarded many as a professional who have a specific duty, tenure, and reward, and cannot be attributably removed. They can use this property of the organization only for the purpose of the organization, and not for what? Not for personal not for personal purpose. Just like an organization now, we may not allow employee to take the laptop home. So the laptop of the organization have to be you have to drop it at the end of the closing hours. And one of the reasons is to avoid it from using it for your own using it for your own personal for your own personal stuff, whereby this particular laptop may be get corrupted, or there may be a loss of data to other party that access your that have access to your laptop. So organization can have a restriction of, at the end of the day, you are not allowed to take you are not allowed to take the laptop home. So there should be as a management now, you are also acting on you're also acting on someone. So the main the interest of that particular individual should be your number one, not your own not your own personal not your own personal purpose. Formal rules and control. Clearly stated rules and regulation and procedure are drawn to. Thus, a written document and record are essential features of bureaucracy. A written so that everybody will know, if you are going to this particular organization, the rules and regulation will be given to you as well. Because sometimes information that is communicated in documentary form is more reliable. The credibility is higher than that of verbal communication. That is, documentary, just like saying documentary evidence is better than oral evidence. So a written document and record are essential features of bureaucracy, so that everybody will not deny that, oh, you didn't tell me, I was not informed. But once the printout is what is given to you, the rules and regulation, things that you need to do, it will be very, very hard to deny that. Or a mail was sent to you. Impersonality. Rules and policy are applied uniformly, regardless of the personal feeling or the need. Thus, the application of what impartiality as it refers to rules produce a higher degree of what reliability and what predictability in the performance of the organization what operate. Impartiality. Anything that we want to do there should not be any word. We should not be biased. We should be what? We should not be subjective. We should be what? We should be objective in things that we are what we things that we are doing. If we are making a certain decision, the reason why you should what try as much as possible to what to do a carefully what selection. If you are recruiting a certain individual, recruiting based okay, oh, is the best based on his what competence, his level of education, his level of what experience, not based on personal relationship with that particular individual before. So rules and policy are applied what uniformly, applied uniformly. What you are going to do to A that is not your brother should also do you should also do the same thing to B that is your word, that is your brother. So treat everybody with uniformly. So these are some of the features of what bureaucracy, division of labor, authority hierarchy, formal selection, career orientation, formal rules and what and control and what impersonality. So what are the contribution of this bureaucracy what theory? Since the policy, rules, and what procedure are set and applicable to all, this lead to consistent employee what behavior. This behavior is what is predictable, making the management process easy to what to implement. Since policies and procedure are set and applicable to all, in regardless of what of who is involved, whether it is my family, is my friend, or my close relation, the policy is applied to what is applied to all. So if there's a uniformity now, management behavior will be what? It will be predictable, and the management process will become easy because there is what? There is uniformity. There is a one-way traffic on things that we are doing. Another one is that since jobs, duty, responsibility are clearly defined, overlapping or conflict of what job duty are what are eliminated. There's not going to be a situation of what of collusion. So the roles are clearly what stated. There's a division. What I'm doing is clearly stated. Although we can be in what the same department, but everybody have his own what areas of what specialization that you are what all of us can be in the finance department and we can have a tax accountant. So jobs and duty and responsibility are clearly defined. So it eliminates the what overlapping or conflict of job duty are completely eliminated. These are what the contribution of the theory of what bureaucracy. Another one is what hiring and what promotion are based on what merit and expertise, not based on what favoritism. They are based on what? They are based on merit and what? They are based on merit and expertise. This results in what? In matching the right workers with the job, which make the what utilization of human resources to be optimal. Also, individual move up the hierarchy as they gain expertise and what experience. Hiring and what and promotion are based on what merit and what and expertise. That is one of the contribution of what of this particular theory. And you can see from here as well under what these are futures rules and what okay where look at what formal selection. Employees are expected to be recruited on the basis of their competence and expertise, while progression of employees should be based on what seniority or achievement. So we are hiring you not just because I have a personal relationship with you, but we are hiring you based on, oh, you are the best. I'm giving this contract to this particular contractor based on, oh, these are some of the work that you have done before, and I consider you to be the best. That's why I'm selecting you. Division of labor makes the workers what specialists, because just like what you are doing every day, so you become what you be good at that particular area, because there's already what as you're coming into the organization, what you are doing is clearly defined. Though sometime we are still going to be talking about, when we get to HR, we'll be talking about some job rotation. So if you are here for like a certain period of time, we can also transfer you to another department, and just for you to gain experience and for you to really know about on what the organization process is all about. So division of labor make workers to what to specialists, hence their skills are what further polished. They become expert and perform what effectively. Organization continue even if individual leave, since the position emphasizes rather than the person. That is, the focus is on the position, not the person. For example, if the chief executive resign, another person is hired or promoted to that position, and the organization continue to operate. So if one particular individual leave, that one doesn't that it doesn't bring to the end of the world to the business. This is not your sole proprietorship. There's continuation. So organization continue even if the individual leave, since the position is emphasized rather than the person. So what we are just talking about is that there should be a clear line of authority. So there should be someone that is doing reconciliation. So if you are the one that is doing reconciliation, you leave the organization, we can recruit another individual that will fit in that position. So, but bureaucracy, in a bureaucracy environment, we did not want to what? We did not want to have any collusion. There should be a clear line of what? Of authority. Let everybody know what they are doing. Oh, I'm responsible for this. This is my responsibility. Then I will be accountable based on the responsibility that is given to me. So these are the what? These are the contribution of what? These are the contribution of this particular what? Of this particular theory. Organization continue even if individual leave, since the position is emphasized rather than what? Rather than the person. Division of labor make what? Make workers specialists. We're also saying what hiring and promotion are based on what merits and expertise. Since jobs duties and responsibility are clearly defined. Overlapping will be what it will be eliminated, because what every one of us is doing is what is independent. So there will not be what? There will not be collusion. Since policy, rules and procedure are set and applicable to all, this leads to consistent employee behavior. This behavior is what is predictable, making the management process to be easy to what? To implement. So these are the contribution of the word of the bureaucracy word. These are the contribution of the bureaucracy theory by what? By Max Weber. Talk about the word, we talk about the type of authority: traditional, rational, and charismatic. We talk about future, division of labor, authority hierarchy, formal selection, employee orientation, formal rules and control, impact and personality. What are the contribution of this theory? And for every theory that, as we have been talking about, then there's also a limitation. For every theory, there are some people that will criticize it as well. And if there's criticism, and that's why it leads some management scholars that they also come back as well and remodify some of the things that they have talked about before. As you are moving on in this particular professional exam, we have a course that you also be doing. We call it what? Financial management. And in financial management, in capital structure, we have a theory by what we call it theory. We have preposition one, and we also have what? Preposition two. Preposition one was developed, and due to some criticism, they come back again and develop what? Preposition two. So for every theory, there's a little word, and some people criticize as well. And it is allowed. What are the criticism of what? Or the limitation of what? Bureaucracy. There's too much word, red tape, and what? And paperwork. That is another word. That's one of the most criticism, the popular criticism of what? Of bureaucracy. There's a word, too much word, red tape, and what? Paperwork. Everything is about formal. Because of what? Impersonal nature of work, employee tended to be less committed to the work, to the organization. Because of impersonal nature of work, employee tended to be less committed. And that's why we need to have a lot of what? Motivation, which we are still going to talk about. Excessive rules and regulation and a strict adherence to those policies inhibit initiative and growth of workers. Employees are treated like what? Like machine, not as well, not as individual. And that's why you can see that what is important in bureaucracy is the position, not really the what, not really the individual. At least we just talk about this now. Organization, what you can see it, organization continue even if the individual leaves, since the position is emphasized. That is, what we are talking is the position, not really not really the who is performing it, who is holding that position. And that is what some of this criticism, that what the human relation is also trying to what to address. And when we get to motivation as well, we'll also be talking about this. Assessing rules and what regulation and the strict adherence to those policy in exhibit what growth, initiative and what growth of the workers. Employee are treated like what? Like machine, not like what? Not as individual. Employee becomes so used to routine that there's a what? Resistant to change and introduction of new techniques of what? Of operation. Because there's a what now? There's a what you are doing today is also what you are going to what you are going to do tomorrow. So, and you are used to that. So whenever there's a what, whenever organization is trying to what to introduce some changes, they usually some resistance. There are some people that will not what, that will not like that, and that is one of the major what limitation of what of bureaucracy, because there's a clear line of authority. There's a division. You know what you do Monday to Friday. What you do in the last year is also what you are doing in the what in the current year. So what about if there's now a what it changes now? How will you feel? Because the changes now is like introducing a new things, and that employee may not really what, they may not really like that. They may not really what, they may not really like that. And change can only be successful if what, if those that is supporting it are greater than those that is what resisting it. And as we are moving on in this particular what, in this particular program as well, you also be learning about what we also have what change management, and we also have some what we have some model that we use in what in change management. We have the what the Balogun model. We have the learning model as well, Kurt Lewin. So what, and we also have what change management as well. That is why we'll be talking about them briefly. That why will people resist change, and why, because this is what in a bureaucracy environment, you are what, just like individual now, you know what you are doing every day. Then you get to the organization on what, on Monday now, and you discover there's a memo that you say that, oh, maybe the way we are going to do, or there's a new system that we are going to introduce. So how are you going to feel? You can see there may be some a problem about that. But always try as much as possible to what, to embrace change. Always try as much as possible to contribute your own quota to the what, to the organization. Look at the words. Is it going to favor your organization? If it's going to favor your organization, try as much as possible to adapt to it. Don't be looking about yourself alone. So let's talk about the word, another theory, which is what we call the word, the human relation what theory. And the human relation theory was, we'll be talking about what Etumeyo. The father of the human relation theory was what Etumeyo. And Etumeyo carried out a text in a what, in Western Electric Company. Western Electric Company in what, in Sierra Leone, which is in what, is in Chicago. Western Electric Company is in what, is in Chicago, in what, in US. So we have what we call the Allerton experiment, and this experiment was carried out by Etumeyo. So let's look at it briefly. I'll also explain this as well. Etumeyo and his Alpha associate conducted a famous study of what human behavior in work situation at the Allerton plant in Western Electric from 1927 to 1932. Mayer was called in by the Western Electric and other researchers who have been experimenting with the work area lighting reporting rather than peculiar result. They divide the employee into what, please don't forget this, you can see it in the word in the short answer. We have what we call, they divide them into to test a test group whose emulation was varied throughout the experiment. And we also have the control group, which lighting remain constant throughout the experiment. That is, we have a two group now. We have what we call the test group, and we also have the control group as well. So let me just give the entire overview of this. In we have two groups now. We have the test group, and we also have the what? We also have the control group. When the test group lighting condition improve, productivity is what? Productivity increase. Hold on. They are divided what? Employee into how many? Test group, which emulation vary throughout the world, throughout the experiment, and control group, which lighting remain constant. So that means that in the words now, in the test group, there are some of the condition attached to that particular group varies. But the control group, the condition attached to it, it is what? It is constant, meaning that it doesn't change. So we have some individuals now that, oh, what we are going to give you now, it changed. And we have some individuals that what you are going to do, the instruction that we are going to give you is what? Is constant. So you can see now, when the test group lighting condition improve, productivity is what? Increase. When the test group lighting condition improve, productivities increase. Just as expected. In terms of the test group now, their condition varies. So when the condition is not favorable now, their productivity is also when they change it to we are using 5 before, we change it to 6 now, the productivity is also increased. Because mind you, in the test group, their illumination varies. The variable varies. That is the word in the test group. But in the control group, it remained constant. So when the test group illumination was improved, the lighting condition improved, productivities also do what? Productivities also increase. What we are trying to do on the human relation is that we are trying to test what is your environment, some of the condition that you want in the organization, the relation of that to your output. Maybe the environment that you did, some of the hygiene, the environment, the job security, and other emolument that you also receive from that organization, whether especially the non-monetary now. So if this thing increase, your productivities will also your productivity will also increase. But Mr. Farr, the researcher, was a similar rise in productivities when illumination was reduced. To compound the mystery, the control group output kept increasing with each alteration in the test group lighting condition. Even through the control group experience no such change. In this attempt to solve this major in the new era of human relation. Meaning that they are okay, look at this. Look at this as well. A number of variables were tried. Salary were increased. The coffee break varies. Lengthening were introduced. The work day and work week were shorter. The researcher, who now acted as a supervisor, allowed the group to choose their own rest period and to have a say in those suggested words. So what we are trying to do now is that this particular theory is bringing about human element to it. Your salary was increased, your coffee break, you are also the work day and the work week were shortened. Researcher and the supervisor also allow you to you also contribute as as these changes in the is not employee is also carry along. So once again, when all these are put in place, the output of both the test group and the control group also increase. As a result of this, in terms of if we are making a decision in the organization now, we also carry the employee we also carry the employee along. It's not just it's not just the employee. It's not just the manager that is making the decision, but the employee will also carry along. you're also giving what option that, oh, choose this particular date, choose your what, your rest period. So rather than just receiving what command from your what, from your supervisor, you are also giving what, you're also giving chance to sales. That is the human relation. It's not just about what giving you instruction, and we expect everybody to adhere with that. The researchers felt that they could rule out financial incentive as cost, since the control group was kept on the same payment schedule. So another what discovered is also that it is not only, and when we also get to motivation, we'll also be talking about this as well, because this human relation has a little what element with what, with motivation theories as well. Because employee is going to get to a certain situation, the financial incentive is not enough. The salary, that even though your salary is what is increasing, but you may feel demotivated with working without what, when working in that organization anymore, despite what increase in your what, in your salary. So the financial incentive is not enough. So they rule out that financial incentive as a cause, since the control group was keep at the same payment. So the control group still, their payment still remain the same thing. There's no increase in salary here, but there are other incentives. We carry them along. There's a coffee break. We allow them to choose their own rest period. Mayor conclude that a complex emotional chain reaction at touch of the productivities increase, because the test and the control group have been singled out for special attention. The worker develop group pride that motivated them to what, to improve their work performance. The sympathetic supervision they receive had further reinforced their what, increased what, motivation. The type of supervision that we give them, the type of what opinion that we give them as well, oh, do this, do that. Everybody has taken that sense of what, responsibility. So there are some individuals that we don't what, we don't is not, we know what we need to do. So it's not till our manager increase our salary, or they ask us. Everybody understand what you need to do, and everybody is what is doing it based on the condition that is set in place. Because when we are making the decision, we are also part of the team. It's not just that, oh, our manager just wake up and say, oh, you'll be doing it this way. We are also carried along. So we are also part of the decision maker. The result of this experiment give what Mayor is first what important discovery. When special attention is given to work under management, productivity is likely to increase regardless of what actual changes in working condition. This phenomenal what become the outcome what effect. When special attention, look at the word special. When special attention is given to workers by management, what happened? Productivity is what increase. You can see this one is different from what scientific. What the scientific theory is saying that, oh, is what is productivity. Oh, the higher you work, the higher you produce, the higher you work, you get paid. It's the manager that make the decision in the science. The employee will not carry along, but in the human relation, the employee will also carry along as well. So every one of us that is listening to me right now, there's going to get to a certain situation in your organization that the financial is not going to be enough. Other things that you're going to receive what will make you happy to stay in that organization. So what are the contributions of this human relation? By stressing the word special need, the human relation movement improved on the classical approach. This was which treated productivity merely as an engineering problem. He says Mayor had rediscovered Robert Owen's century-old that the true concern of workers whose vital what machine pay dividend. What this one is what Owen is saying is that what your output should be measured by your what? Your salary. Your salary should be measured by your what? By your output. But what Mayor is now what is now counter that now. That it's not about what increasing my salary that will make me to improve my performance. My performance can be increased despite that my salary still remain constant. But if other benefits are in place. A study revealed a fact that seems commonplace today, that office, factory, or shop is not merely a workplace, but also a social world, but also a social environment with employee interacting with each other. And this social environment is very influential in determining the quality and the quantity of work what produced. In terms of what? Recruiting the best personnel, having what? Good relation. So the workplace is not what is not merely a workplace, but also a social environment in which people can come together. Oh, you are from what? You are from South Africa. You are from Liberia. You are from Europe. You are from what? You are from Nigeria. You are from South Africa. So, but if you work for multinational company, people would be come together as well as one. So it's not just a word, merely a workplace, but it's also a place of word social, it's also a social environment in which we can interact together. In addition, Mayor expected that the importance of a manager was start and thereby revolutionize management training. More and more attention was focused on teaching people management skills as opposed to technical that are using what in factory. Management was management training. Good woman was conceptual what management training, not just the technical. Interpersonal training, not just the technical skills. So we are giving employee training, not just about how you can improve output, but also how you able to interact together. Good human relation, good interpersonal. Finally, is what lead to new interest in dynamic of group. Manager began thinking in terms of group incentive to implement their formal concentration on their individual worker. A new interest in a dynamic group. Manager began thinking in terms of group incentive to supplement their formal concentration. So apart from just like what the mayor do by dividing the employee into two, the text and the text and the control group. So apart from your individual, there is also a group incentive. That was another contribution of the human relation linked by head to male. So apart from apart from your individual pay, if your group also meet a certain target, then there's additional benefit for you. Just like as the marketing department, you have your individual have their own salary that they're collecting. But if you also meet the target that was set by management, can you give us 10 billion sales? Can you give us 20% increase in sales of as what we have in the last year? So if we're all able to meet the 20% increase in sales, there's also an additional benefit for you. That is also another contribution of the human relation. Now the limitation as well. The concept of social man was an important counterweight on the one side, a rational economics man model, but it too did not completely describe individual in the workplace. You can see we make mention of factory office is not merely a workplace, but also a social environment. So what made up of the social environment was not really clearly defined. Many managers and management writers assume that the certified worker could be more productive worker. However, attempts to increase output during the 1950s by improving working conditions and the human relations skills of manager did not result in dramatic productivity increase that have been expected. Because one of the assumptions of the human relation theory is that as you get certified with the world, as the worker gets certified, then your output is also going to increase. Your output is also going to do what? Your output is also going to increase. But attempt to study output in what? In the 1950s. That in the 1950s, employees were what? Their working conditions were what? Were improved. Human relation skills of manager were also a training given to them, but during this particular period, productivity was now what? As the productivities increased, that was now what? That was the productivity was now increased. That is another thing as well. Productivity was not increased despite despite the dramatic improvement in the working condition of employee. So it's like they are telling us now that, okay, what Mayor is saying, there's a limitation to that, oh, if you give them if you give them the good working condition, you certify them, then their productivity is also going to increase. But in the 1950s, that was not what happened. Then we also have another theory called system theory. System theory. And what the system theory is saying is that organization is made up of different subsystems. The organization is like a system. And we know it as a system, not just like a laptop that I'm using now. It's made up of different components. If one is not working, if the screen is not working, then there's a problem. If the motherboard is not working, there's a problem. If the mouse is not working, there's a problem. If other input to this particular laptop is not working, also there's a problem. So what made up of this system, this laptop now, this phone that you're using, the target that you're using to listen to me now, is made up of different components. And for this particular system to be working properly, then other subsystem has to be working properly as well. For this organization to be successful, it is not only the production department that has to be good. The IT also needs to be good. The marketing also needs to be good. The accounting department also needs to be good. The research and development also needs to be good. That is what. So what made up of the organization is different department, is different system. The system approach to management attempt to view the organization as as ununified, purposeful system composed of interrelated parts. Rather than dealing separately with the various parts of the organization, the system approach tries to give manager a way of looking at organization as a whole. In so doing, the system theory tells us that the activities of any part of the organization affect the activities of every other part. So what the marketing is doing, it will affect every other it will affect every other part as well. So if this particular department is successful, it's like the other is also successful. So if one fails, it's like the entire organization failed. As a production manager in the manufacturing plant, for example, we could ideally like to have a long uninterrupted production run in order to maintain a maximum efficiency and lower cost. Marketing department, on the other hand, could like to offer a quick delivery of wide range of product, and therefore want a flexible manufacturing schedule that can fulfill a special order at a shorter time. As a system-oriented production manager, we could make our scheduling decision only after we have identified their impact on other departments and the entire organization. So what we are doing now is that we are not only looking about our what we are not only looking about ourselves alone. We are not only looking about a certain department. We are looking about what different department as well. This means that what this means that system manager cannot function only within the confine of their traditional organization chart. They mess with they merge the department with the whole enterprise. Manager must be in what in frequent contact with other what employee and other department as well. So if you are the what if you are the finance manager now, that is not enough. The relationship that you also need to have is not only to the what to the finance team. You also need to have a what a relationship with what with other department as well. Key words, key concept now in the what in the system theory. What we call the subsystem. We also have what we call synergy, open and what open and close what system, and we also have what we call what system boundary, and we also have what we call flow. So let's be looking about each of these concepts one after the other. A subsystem, just like what we explained before. Like I'm using the laptop, for example. Now, it's made up of the screen, the motherboard, the keypad, and other component as well. These parts that make up the whole of the system. The part that make up the whole of the system are called a subsystem. The part that make up the whole system are called a subsystem. Each system in turn may be a subsystem of still a large whole. That is in a subsystem now, we can still have a subsystem. Just like in organization now, we can have IT. In IT now, we can have a separate in IT department, we can also have IT is a subsystem. In a subsystem, we can also have a subsystem. Thus, a department is a subsystem of a plant, which may be a subsystem of of a company. So a department is a subsystem of a plant, which may be a system of of a company as well. So in a system, that's now when we have a subsystem. A system is a whole organization. What is now under is now what we call a subsystem. We can have ABC Limited. So different departments in ABC Limited are what we call a subsystem. And for this system to be successful, for this ABC Limited to be successful, each of these departments has to be successful as well, because their activities are interrelated. We also have synergy. Synergy means that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And in financial management, we usually say 2 plus 2 equal to to 5. 2 plus 2 equal to 5. That is the remaining one, that is what we call a synergy. And it means that if two or more organizations are acting together, their performance will be better than one individual acting alone. Synergy means that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. In organization terms, synergy means that a separate department within an organization cooperate and interact. They become more productive than if they are acted in isolation. So if a two department is acting together now is better than one individual acting alone. That's what we call synergy. For example, it is obvious more efficient for each department in a small firm to deal with one finance department than for each of department to have a separate financing department of its own. So rather than having IT having its own finance, so let's just have one together. Let's become one. Then our output will be greater. We also have what we call open and closed system. Open and closed system. A system is considered open if it interacts with its environment. A system is considered open if it interacts with its environment. It is considered closed if it does not. Have a look at that. A system is considered A system is considered open if it interacts with its what environment, and it is considered closed if it what? If it does not. All organizations interact with their environment, but the extent to which they do so vary. Okay? The extent everyone, when we talk about what in the in business environment, organization does not operate in what? In isolation. Organization does not operate in what? In isolation. Organization operates with what? With different what? Department. Organization operate with what? With different what? With different organization what? Organization operate with what? With environment as well. So it's not only just about the word, it's not only just about you can't operate alone. Organization does not operate in what? In isolation. So you operate with your environment. But every organization does that, because your input, where do you get it from? It's from the environment. Your output as well is also send it back to the what? To the environment. So how you interact with the environment varies. There are some organizations that really they really interact with the environment more than other. But every organization operates with its environment, but the extent varies. An automobile plant, for example, is far more open system than it was monocentric words or a what? Or a prison. You can see how a prison is going to operate. Operate this environment, it will be different from what? From automobile. We also have what we call system boundary. This system has a boundary that separates it from its what? From its environment. That is the boundary now is the word, is the maximum that we can go. In a closed system, this boundary is what? Is rigid. In an open system, it is what? It is flexible. The system boundary of what many organizations have become increasingly flexible in what? In recent years. Oil companies that wish to what? Engage in offshore drilling, to cite more example, have increasingly needed to consider popular reaction to the potential environmental harm of their what? Of their operation. So because the system boundary of many organizations have become increasingly what? Flexible, meaning that the word is change. And because business environment also what? Business environment also change. So system change as well. System change in relation to your what? In relation to your environment. A system has what? A system has flows of what? Information, material, and energy, including human. Those what? Those enter the system from its environment as what? As input. Exists the what? The system as what? As output. That is flow, like a circular flow. A system has a flow of what? Information, material, and energy. Those enter the system from the environment are what? Are input, your raw material. And those exist the system. Those that exist the organization is what? Is our output, which is the goods and services. So these are the concepts under the word the system word, the system theory. And the key concept of the word the system theory is that organization is what made up of organization is as a result of what? Different subsystem. And each of these systems must work together for the organization to work to succeed. What are the system? The system are the what? Are the department, the various units within the organization. So, and what are the key concept of what system theory? We have what we call the subsystem, the synergy, the open and what? Closed, system boundary, and we also have what? Flow. What are the contribution of what? What are the contribution of the system what? The system theory. Importantly, organizations today operate as open system to survive and what? Utilize a system perspective of what? Management. Manager must think broadly about a problem and generate what? Generate more relevant facts to avoid a narrow assessment of issue. In this case, the result obtained that reflect a broader spectrum of what relevant issue will be more what impactful on the organization as well as the environment. Importantly, organizations today operate in a what? In the open system. Open system in terms of what? It is a what? We operate with the environment that is in what? In a flexible way. Look at it. No, we defined it recently. When we say what? Open system. Open what? A system is considered open if it what? If it interact with the what? With the environment. And it is considered closed if it what? If it does not. So most organization now is what? Is open. Importantly, organizations today operate a what? Open system to survive and utilize a system perspective of management. So manager must think broadly about a problem and generate more relevant facts to avoid a narrow assessment of issues. With a system perspective, manager can more easily achieve a coordination between the objective of various parts of the organization and objective of the whole organization as well. And which is true. Each organization will have its own objective, and we are going to break the whole of the organization objective into a various system. That is, for this organization to be successful, there has to be different things that has to be in place. Just like we have we have a theory in management. We have a theory in management called we have a theory in management called what's the name of this theory? Um, we call it we call it, I can't remember the name that we call this theory. There's a model in management that we use. We call it performance pyramid. And let me show you that, because we are still going to be coming across this performance pyramid. And what this performance pyramid is saying is that for organization to be successful, there has to be things has to work from cradle to the top. Okay, sorry. Let me open it so that you see it very well. Save image. This is what we call performance. We call it performance pyramid. You can see this model that I'm talking about. This is performance pyramid. Should be able to zoom it now. And you can see at the top now, we have corporate vision. We have level 2, we have level 3, and we have level 4. So for this organization to be successful now, there's already a vision that is stated. But for us to achieve this vision, each of the department has to achieve this thing. They have to achieve this efficiency and effectiveness. And we can see now we have what we call internal efficiency. Internal efficiency in terms of if we try at your departmental level, if we try as much as possible to avoid waste, your cycle time in terms of your lead time, if it is also very, very good, in terms of your lead time is very, very low, you're able to produce within the minimum period of time, then you're able to achieve, because if you avoid waste, it will ensure quality. If you're able to produce, if your cycle time is low, then you're able to deliver on time. That is external. But for this external to be good, you have to avoid these two things. For you to have a short lead time, a good quality of product, you have to avoid waste and you have to produce on time as well. For you to ensure customer satisfaction, you can see the external effectiveness, you have to be internal efficiency. Your productivity has to be good, and you have to be flexible. Don't be organization that will be rigid. So if your productivity is good, you are flexible, then your customer will be satisfied. If your customer is satisfied, you're able to win the market. And if you win the market, you achieve your financial, and we have financial, you achieve your corporate you are going to achieve your corporate vision. So you can see now the vision is at the top. What things that you need to do now, your internal efficiency has to be good. And if your internal efficiency is good, then it will also result in what? In your external effectiveness. Then you're able to achieve your what? Your corporate what? Vision. If you're able to gain the what? If your customer is satisfied, then you what? You be the best in the market. And if you are the best in the market, you're able to achieve your what? Your financial objective as well. How can you satisfy your customer? Your productivity has to be what? Has to be very good. You have to be very flexible. Don't be a rigid. If this one is not working, try another one. For you to achieve what? Quality and delivery, you have to avoid waste. Your cycle time has to be low. So this is what we call, it's a very interesting word model that we use in the manufacturing sector, called performance mirror pyramid. So with a system, managers are more easily achieving the coordination between the objective of various parts. So each of these parts, each of this system now that you are looking at, maybe in this performance pyramid now, there's already a goal attached to them. This is a department. This is a business operating system. This is a divisional level. So each of them, there's already a clear responsibility that is given to them. So with a system perspective, manager can more easily achieve a coordination between the objective of various part of the organization and the objective of the whole organization is going to be achieved. So once the department are achieving their objective, then it's like the organization as a whole is achieving its objective. So what are the limitation of this? Critics consider system approach to be abstract and not very practical. Talking about input, transaction, and output is not how managers discuss problems, making decisions, and fixing what's reality. These are what the critics of system theory. Then we also have the contingency theory as well. And this is the last theory. And from the contingency, the development of this approach was simulated by manager, consultants, and researchers who tried to apply the concept of the major school to real life situation. They often find that the method that were highly effective in one situation could not work in another situation. That is what contingency. So that's what the contingency is trained that if there's a problem now and the solution that you use to resolve B, it may not work for it may not work for C. So it's like different problem have different solution. So as a manager now, there is no you don't have a standard solution for every problem. So every problem have different solution, and you have to come up with that. Then the third explanation for those experience. Why, for example, did the behavior scientist concept of brilliantly in one situation and fail in another? Meaning that one particular experiment, one particular behavior can work very fine here, but it may not work very fine. You can see one of the criticism of Etumeyo is that they say in 1950, that the performance, the productivities of the employee were job satisfaction of the employee was increased, but the output dropped. That's one of the criticism of the human relation, and you can see there as well. That, however, attempt to increase output during the 1950s by improving working conditions and human relation skills of manager did not result in dramatic improved productivities increase that have been expected. So that is one. Or if you use this particular problem to solve a problem in this factory, it's not applicable to all. So look at what happened in the 1950s now. That job satisfaction were increased, but performance drop. So that's what the contingency theory was trying to advocate for. That there's no one best solution for everything. According to the contingency approach, then the task of manager is to try to identify which technique will in a particular situation and under a particular circumstances and at a particular time. best contribute to the achievement of the word of the organization goal. That as a manager now, you should try as much as possible to identify which technique will, a technique that will work in a particular situation, under a particular circumstance, and at a particular what time, best contribute to the word achievement of the word the management goal, where workers need to encourage to increase productivities. For example, the classical theory may prescribe a new incentive. Okay, so a new incentive scheme. The behavioral scientist may create a physiological motivating climate. The manager trained in a contingency approach will ask which method will work best here. If the workers are unskilled, struggling to meet a car or mortgage payments, then financial incentive might work well. So what is our what? What is our worker suffering from? Is it working condition? Do you need tea? Do you need a coffee break? Is that what you are suffering from? Or are you trying to work to pay your children's school fees, or are you struggling with a mortgage? So if you are struggling to pay your school fee or your children's school fees now, or you are trying to buy a house or trying to change your car. So that means that what is going to motivate you to work very well now is what? Is financial. With skills worker, driving by pride in what? In their ability, a job enrichment program, maybe what? Maybe effective. So what manager need to do now is try to study what the problem is and provide a solution. But different problem now have different solutions. What the problem that you used for last year, you use for your factory workers, may be different from the world how you are going to solve the problem of what the skills labor, your administrative work staff. The contingency approach scholar could not be satisfied with just analyzing the particular problem. However, we could equally concern with how well a particular solution could fit in with a structure, resources, and goals of our entire organization. What are the contribution of this? A theory caution management theories and a practitioner against the danger of what? Generalizing on matters of method of strategy and organization design. So that is what this particular theory is cautioning what managers don't focus on what 1 week traffic. Don't focus on what? Don't focus on 1 week traffic. Only try as much as possible to develop program as they come up. There's no best way to organize. Don't forget, there's no best way to organize or management, because a proper structure of an organization is that which enable you to deal with the environment optimistically. So that is a good structure. A good structure is a structure that is flexible, that if this particular problem occur, we're able to solve it. We're able to solve it differently from the way we solved the previous one. The considered approach has a limited practical utility because it is not only complex, it is also very difficult to determine all relevant situation factors that affect what's management. And this is like a what? This is like a limitation of what the contingency one. Because knowing the variable that affects some of these is it's going to be a problem. It's going to be it's going to be a problem. Contingency approach has limited practical utility because it is not only complex, but it is also very difficult to determine all relevant situation factors that will affect management decision, or because just like even the workers, what is affecting A is different from what is affecting B. What is affecting Mr. So is different from what is affecting Mr. D. So coming up with a variable that we're able to meet some of these is complex and very difficult to achieve, but it is good, and management also need to have it at the back of them because problems are different. If you want to solve it the way you solve what happened in last year, then that means that what happened in last year also occurred now. But if what happened in last year is not what actually happened now, because environment change, and if environment change as well, we also need to try as much as possible to develop a new way of what of solving it. So this is what this is the end of the syllabus section. What this is the end of the syllabus section D. And what we talk about here is about different theory of different theory of management, different theory of management, and it's a very long section, and you have to try your best as well to understand some of the key concepts of that. So we're able to talk about that what is the meaning of what management. We say management can be defined as a process of what planning, organizing, directing, and what controlling the resources of an organization in order to do what? In order to achieve its goal effectively. Okay. Now, what we say the purpose of management is to achieve the corporate goals and objective in what? In an effective and what efficient manner. That is that is the purpose of having management. Then we also talk about goals, we talk about management process. Management process, we have planning, we have organizing, the leading, and we also have the word controlling as well. Who is the manager? Management consists a group of people responsible for directing the efforts aiming at what helping the organization to achieve their goal. So those individuals, those group of people responsible for directing the efforts of different individuals, different groups, so, in order to achieve in order to achieve the goals of the organization, are what we call managers. And we have what levels of manager. We have the top, we have the middle, and we also have the first line, or we usually call them sometimes who are what managers. Then we talk about managerial role. Please don't forget this. This is very, very well. This is a very, very important thing. Please don't forget this. Managerial role. Managerial role, according to what means back. We have three managerial role. We have what we call the interpersonal role. Under the interpersonal, we have the figurehead, the leader, and the liars. We have the informational role as well, the monitor, disseminator, and spokesman. Decisional, we have entrepreneur, stubbornness under resources allocator, and negotiator. That is the 10 rules of manager divided into 3 categories. Then we also have management levels and skills at each of these management levels. What are some of the skills that we need? We have the top, we have the middle, and we also have the supervisory as well. The universality of management, when the manager leaves a work and goes to a weekly meeting of a civil or a church group to organize a meeting for a youth soccer league, or a volunteer job in political campaign, he or she should keep in mind that many of the same functions used in business can be used in those organizations. All through each organization has its own unique goals, missions. Effective management can help every organization to accomplish their mission, irrespective of whether it's in this particular sector or not. Effective management can help every organization to achieve their mission statement. Theories of management, we talk about 7 theory, the pre-scientific, what are some of the scholars that we have? Owen, Charles, Henry Van Paul, Captain Airy. We talk about the scientific theory. We talk about Fred Taylor. Fred Taylor is the father of the scientific theory. We also have the husband and wife, Fran and Lord Lina. We have Eric Ganti as well. Then we also talk about the administrative theory, which is the father of the administrative theory is Eric Frayo. Eric Frayo divides the activities of an organization into 3: the technical, the commercial, the financial, the security, the accounting, and the managerial. The 14 principles of Eric Frayo, please don't forget them. Very, very important as well. The contribution, then we start today's class with the theory of bureaucracy by Max Weber. What are the 3 types of authority: the traditional, the rational, legal, and we also have the charismatics. What are the features of bureaucracies? It's a career division of labor, authority, hierarchy, formal organization, career orientation, formal rules and control, and impersonality. What are the contributions as well? the limitation, the human relation by what? By Etomeyo. We will look about the world, the Arlington experiment, what a factory in what in a Western Electric Company in what in Chicago in what in US, where to measure divide the world, the workers into two. We have what we call the word the test group, and we also have the word the control group. And we also talk about system theory. System theory is what is advocating for what the sources of organization depend on what different subsystems. If what XYZ Limited is successful, what makes XYZ Limited to be successful is as a result of what subsystem as well. What makes this laptop to be working now is not just only about the screen, it's about what other subsystem that is what that made up of it. The equipment that you're using to listen to me, what make it to be working is as a result of what subsystem. Even though your screen is what is good, but if the battery is done, what the battery is damaged, it's not going to work. So what are the key concepts in was in system theory, the sub, the synergy, open and close, system boundary, and we also have flows. We talk about contingency, that there's no best way to plan. Each situation come up with what with different things. So thank you very much. And that is that is the end of the section B of the syllabus, which is what the principle of the principle of what management. God will make it very, very easy for you. I know it is not a word, it's not easy, but God will kind of effort, and every one of you is going to pass that. So try your best, read the notes, practice some questions relating to some of the things that we have talked about as well. And if there's any area that require what you need further clarification, please always feel free to ask questions, and God will make it easy for you. So thank you very much, and God bless you all.